Welcome to the Book Hackers Podcast. I'm Cindy Minear.
I'm Tammie Chrin, and we are the co-founders of the Book Hackers Club. If you're listening to this, you probably are a self-publisher who is ready to grow your business, and that's exactly why we're here. What is a book hacker, you ask? A book hacker is a self-publisher who is growing their business by creating books that provide value for their target audience while building a sustainable business.
We'll cover marketing, branding, sales, and everything in between. If you're ready to fast-track the growth of your self-publishing business, you've come to the right place. Our goal is simple: to help you think and act like an entrepreneur. Every Thursday, we'll share tips and resources designed to help you master all aspects of your self-publishing business while having fun along the way.
Ready? Let's start.
What do you think the features are of Canva that you can't live without, Thea?
So I would say every day I'm using the resize, Canva resize. Now, of course, there's ways of doing resize even if you don't have Canva Pro. But all the stuff that I really use are the pro features. So the resize is one. I also like the background remover, which I use all of the time. And I'm really a big fan of a lot of the photo effects in Canva. So your things like your drop shadows or your duotone or that sort of thing. So I'm a big fan of those ones. So that's probably three. And as an Canva expert and affiliate, I can offer people 45 days free pro. Sorry, I guess you guys can get 30, but hey, get 40 for 45 for me. Anyway, so that's another thing. Canva Pro, a lot of times people don't really understand, well, why should I go pro? And, what's the difference between pro and free? And really, I like to say that you get more of everything with pro. So you're getting more photos, you're getting more space, you're getting more features, you're getting more audio, video, templates, everything, download options. But when anybody says, should I upgrade to Canva Pro? My answer is always, it depends. What are you going to be using it for? For me, there's no way, even if I wasn't Canva expert, I couldn't live without Pro. I just couldn't.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Cindy.
Oh, I was just going to say I completely agree. I use Canva every day, and I think the remove background is also like my very favorite thing on there. And I couldn't live without my Canva Pro either.
It's so easy to use as a non-graphic designer, and that's what made it just explode for me, and then I think everybody else in the self-publishing process as well. But the price is so reasonable compared to most other softwares, and Pro is, I can't believe all the things that they've offered, and they keep building and building bigger and bigger platform for us to use. It's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. There's been one recent change that people may not know about, which is unlimited folders. So one of the reasons that I would recommend that people do go pro is you got more folders with Pro instead of the 2 that you used to get in Canva Free. And now you can have unlimited folders in free Canva as well. That's a new change over the past 2 weeks.
That's really nice. It's really important to have the folders to keep your stuff all organized so you can know where to go find things. I know I use it all the time.
Yeah, I just did a program that was about cleaning up your Canva. I actually bought it from a fellow expert who's in Canada, Brenda, and she is really great at organization, even like physical organization. She used to be a professional organizer. And I was like, you would die if you saw my Canva. It's so disorganized. So after taking her course, I've been trying to get a grip. You're talking 8 whatever years of files, and it's like copy this, like instead of the actual name of it, it'll say copy something, So if you're kind of new to Canva, start out by organizing right, and you can do 5 levels down in the files. So get it right. Don't do what Thea did.
So what do you think it is about Canva that sets it apart from other graphic software platforms?
So I'm just checking the chat there. Yeah, Kat, you're a travel agent. I kind of wish I was a travel agent, actually. I'd love to be traveling all over the place, although maybe not last 2 years. So what do I think that's different? I think what's different about Canva is, it started out as, here's a quick way to make your social media graphics, a Facebook post or whatever. If you could see, and I think it'd be fun to do the way back time machine to 2014, 2015, even 2016. And what it started out and what it is today is just so different. So I think what sets it apart is it's been, it was a forerunner in the market, obviously, but the fact that you can do your print stuff in it, you could do your business cards, you can do your presentations, and you can do your pop-up banners for your trade shows that you do, and you can create your books, and you can create your t-shirts, and you can just do everything in Canva. And I think Adobe probably took Canva for granted, and Canva kind of started out wanting to take over some of that Photoshop stuff. And I think they kind of were like, I think they probably thought, no, well, this little upstart, it's not going to be anything. But then suddenly they're like having to chase their tail with their own version of, Adobe Spark. I think it's changed its name, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that they've kind of had to kind of think, uh-oh, we better get on it, because there's no other tool like it that has everything in it. Not that I know of.
I agree. And then I started to go to Adobe Spark and all the different higher end graphic design programs, and they were so complicated. Canva's made it so easy. And creating the books, then when we started doing self-publishing, it just made it so much easier to be able to drag and drop graphic pictures. That's why I did.
Yeah, it makes absolutely perfect sense. So to bring it to more recent times, I started out with print on demand and like Cafe Press in 2000 when I launched, So You've Been Dumped. But I did other t-shirts and merch, and I first started out with merch by Amazon in, I don't know, 2017 maybe, and it took me about 9 months to get approved, by the way. And when I went out to the merch conference in Seattle in 2018, I heard people talking about KDP, and I'd seen a lot of it in the groups because I was in all the print on demand groups, and I was like, what is this KDP? I would love to be able to publish a book, right? And I should be able to do it in Canva, but honestly, I struggled so hard. So when I got back from Seattle, back to the UK in early 2019, after hearing so many people at different parties talking about it, I thought, I'm going to sign up for KDP. So the first book I did, I tried to use their designer, right? Bad move. Honestly, I was in tears doing my first KDP book. It took me 2 or 3 hours to try and get it uploaded. For me, it was just a case of I couldn't work out in my head in Canva how to make the cover and like how to set up the dimensions. And I struggled so badly in the early days. And the first one I did is like Scotland travel journal with a picture of Loch Lomond. I mean, it's really basic, lined journal, nothing in it. And yet it took me a couple hours to upload. But once you kind of learn how Canva works to create books, and in which case for anybody that's, I don't know what the audience is like in terms of creating books and trying to use Canva to do it, but the way I do it is I would go up to custom size, and I would have worked out what the right size is for the spine. So if it was, say, for instance, it's a 9 by 6, then of course it's going to be a 6.25 by 9, no, 6.125 by 9.25. And I would go up and I would create that. And one of my tips, if you are going to start using Canva for book covers, is have a template. Go in, do your, excuse me, hold on one sec. Sorry, I didn't want to cough in your ear. Have a template that you have that's the right size for the journal or book that you're doing. And then, download it. You're going to download it as a PDF. One of the new things in Canva is we can actually now do, CMYK for print under the print PDF downloads, which is pretty awesome. But when I go in the next day, I just hit duplicate, drag a new photo in from either from my uploads or Canva's free photos, and download, and then again. And you can now do up to 200 pages. So you've just got one template. If you're doing 9 by 6 journals, it would take you seconds to do book covers. Once you've got your one template set up with the right dimensions and your font, etc., assuming you're going to be consistent with your fonts, you can do book covers now in seconds. Once you learn how, with Canva, I always say it's easy once you know. Easy once you know. It's not always easy getting started with Canva, but it's easy once you know.
Do you have any other tips for using Canva to create books?
I think what we should do is maybe kind of take some questions on stuff, and I'll see if I can think of some other tips on that. other than kind of what I was saying. Have different template sizes that you're using for the different kinds of books that you're creating. Stick to free elements in Canva and the free fonts if you're using stuff in a commercial way like that. It's really, Canva's licensing is not as crystal clear as we would like. I'm sure probably you guys have had similar experiences with that. So I tend to bring in other elements sometimes from other places that I might buy them or get free bundles from places like your Creative Fabricas or Creative Markets, design bundles, etc. So I tend to upload a lot from other places just in case, to give me more options for creating journals. And
If anyone has any questions, if you want, you can raise your hand and we can bring you up on the stage and you can ask the question. If you're not comfortable coming up and talking, you can, as an alternative, ask the questions in the chat. So does anybody have any questions right now?
great stuff, Kat. I love it. My uploads, honestly, I have uploads probably from 2015 in there. So it is a crazy Canva situation. It'd almost be better to start over from fresh and do it right, because I've not done it right. Love it. We could talk about the other tools and just the other parts of the book until somebody has a question or raises their hand. If you
Yeah, why don't we do that? So if you have any questions, you can type them in the chat or raise your hand and we'll bring you up. In the meantime, Thea, why don't you tell us about your new book?
I will do that. Let's first take it back to last year on Clubhouse when Thea meets Cindy and Tammie in some of these print on demand rooms. Cindy and I were talking on one of the rooms, and I said, really would be great to have a chat with you. So Cindy, of course, has a wonderful tool. I'm sure you can see, she can tell you about it, and you can also see it in her profile. But we had a chat, and I liked Cindy, and even though I already have lots of other tools that I can do a lot of what I do in Cindy's, I was like, I like this girl. So after we had our chat, I bought her program, Aududu, her software, and I started to make word search books. And it was so easy. Like, I've been wanting to do it for years. I had all these words. I wanted to do some Scotland ones. And I'd had them already for probably 2 or 3 years in a spreadsheet, and I just didn't really know how to do it. And once Cindy showed me how to do one, I was off and running. So last year, my two of my biggest sellers are totally Scottish word searches. There's a big version and a wee version, and the wee version is 5x8, and the big is A4, which is the largest size you can do in KDP. And as my 30th anniversary was this year, I thought I want to do another kind of word search book, but maybe I'll do other activities as well. And Cindy's tool has lots of activities that you can do. And I thought, okay, so in addition to word search, I decided I would do an 80s music book because that's something I'm passionate about. And I decided to make it British hits of the 80s. And they all had to be top 50 from 1980 to 1989. And then, as I was investigating more of Aududu, I was like, oh, I can do this and I can do that. So now what I've ended up with, and it's just launched this week, and it's called The Totally Big Brit Hits of the 80s activity book. And so the first part of the book is all quizzes, which were all made in Canva. The cover was made in Canva. And then I also used Aududu to create not only the word search, but word scrambles and Worduku, which is like Sudoku, but with words. And those are all bands that had 6-letter names. I'll give you one of them, Prince. And so I just compiled this big book, and it's a massive 340-page tome, and it's a brick and a half. It really is. But what's great about Cindy's tool is I can now go back and I can actually just cut off and just do the 1,060 bands that I did for the word search. I can make that a word search of its own, right? So there's a word search right there, made in seconds, and I've already got the bands. And I use tools like randomlist.org to kind of shuffle them up for me. And then I also use another one that kind of capitalizes all the names and stuff. So I always do all my word searches capitalized, and then I randomize them. I have the content here, and now I can make several books using tools like Aududu, which is what I use to make all my word searches in. I did actually use Merch Informer for one part of the cover, but to be honest, I only really use one part of Merch Informer, and that is the masking tool. And what I wanted to do is on the cover, it says Totally Big Brit Hits of the 80s, and I wanted the Union Jack to be in those letters. And so it's really one of the best tools to be able to do that. So I created the words in Canva, downloaded the PNG, went over to Merch Informer, slapped my Union Jack on it, masked it, and downloaded it. So that was the only part that I did in Merch Informer. But predominantly, more than half of the book is made in Aududu, and the other half is in Canva, and then the cover was in Canva. And again, it's once you know how to do one, you can do, I'm up to 207 now. One of the things I've done since the pandemic is I teach people how to make these books. And in a half a day, I will take people through how to set up the cover in Canva, how to create the interior in Canva, or at least part of the interior in Canva, and then upload it to Amazon KDP all in one setting.
So do you primarily just make puzzle type books right now? Is that your emphasis?
You know, so predominantly I've made lined journals, planners, word searches, quiz books. Trying to think of what else of those. Those are kind of the main ones. And then I've done a breakup lines journal, so that brought in the So You've Been Dumb stuff. And even this past week, I've got lots of content of books that I wrote while running the forum, and I never did anything with them. But now that I can make books so easily, I was thinking it would take very little time to do these books that I've already done and just upload it. Again, once you know how to do one, you can do many. But I'm now started on my new project, which I call a real book. And the real book is going to be my story of how I ended up here, but also in my connection with my father, who was my best friend and who passed in 2018. And so I'm now writing my first real proper book. It's a teachable memoir, or teaching memoir, according to what Hay House calls it.
What are you using to write that book?
You know, I'm just gonna do it in Canva. And, you know, I use a lot of Google Docs, to be honest. So if I'm doing text, it might be in Google Docs. But I do, you know, some of the people that I've helped, because I help people publish books as well, is if they have it in Word, I will do all the formatting for them in Canva. So they can just give me a Word document, and I make books for people that way as well.
If you're looking for a really snazzy tool, the Kindlepreneur people, they just recently released something called Atticus. And I used that for my last book. That was the How to Start a Low Content Book Side Hustle book, which was high content, not low content. And with their software, you press one button, it downloads the uploadable content for the ebook, and another one, and it downloads a PDF for the print book. So I really like it if you're looking for a tool to help you with your high content books.
Cool. What is the cost of that?
I don't remember. It was 100 and something, I think, at the time. I can send you a link if you're interested in it. But it was it was a one-time payment. It's a lifetime usage thing, so it's not a monthly fee.
Fantastic. I like a good tip.
Yeah, it makes creating both of the ebook and the paperback at the same time super, super easy. I really like the program and the way they organize it and stuff. It makes it, the format, you don't have to even think about the formatting. It does all of it. It's for you.
Do you upload your own Word document to it?
I think you might be able to. I just start typing in it. You just start typing in it, and you just do the whole thing in there.
Okay.
It does the different chapters. It does the table of contents automatically, headers, footers. You tell it what trim size. It does all the margins. It's makes everything super easy.
That's amazing. Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Did anybody else have any questions for Thea about using Canva for books?
So I do training still, and what I do at the end of the training, I'm like, hey, let's all work on this presentation. And I share the link with the people on my courses, and they all dive in, and we're all doing different things. And you can see what everybody's doing. You can see what they're typing. You can see them adding photos. Like you said, Tammie, you can add comments. You can add replies. You can even reply with stickers. And the new thing that's coming out, which you guys have probably seen mentions of it, but it's Canva Whiteboard. And that will take collaboration to a whole new level once they kind of really fully launch that. And it's kind of launching at the moment, but I don't know if you guys have seen that. But That's a pretty cool thing as well.
I haven't seen that yet, but I just want to go back to the teams. It's very useful being able to have these folders if you're working with a group. So all of the documents are stored in the little folders in the one team thing. So it makes it really easy to find things when you're working on a project, with a group project.
Absolutely. And what you can do is that sometimes maybe people create something and they're like, oh, shoot, I created it in my own. But you can actually go up to share it with the team and then share the document so that they can see it. A lot of people kind of get confused. And one question I get a lot is, if I add somebody to my team, can they see all my designs? And I'm like, no, they can only see what you have in the shared folder that you've got. Yeah, I don't do a lot of team works, but they certainly are handy, and you've just got to be careful which ones you're doing. And they're right in the process of changing the teams, guys. Keep an eye out for that, because there's a lot of people selling. If you go to Etsy or you go to, your creative markets or some of these other places, people are sharing slots on Canva teams, because Canva made it so that you can have four extra people or 5 extra people on your team. So they're completely overhauling that right at this very moment. So keep an eye out for that, for the teams, paid teams, I think.
All right, I will keep an eye out for that. I wasn't aware of that. This is your last chance. If you have any questions you want to ask about any topic whatsoever, raise your hand now or put it in the chat. Thank you, Thea, so much for joining us today. We appreciate you coming on the Book Hacker Show with us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, thank you, Thea. Appreciate your time and all your expertise, and I can't wait to hear more about Canva and what they're doing.
Oh, thank you both. It's so nice to see you guys and be reunited. Always happy to talk book stuff with you. Sorry, I'm hopefully you'll be able to edit me down into a more interviewee.
Well, it was all great information and very interesting story that you've had.
Thanks. Yeah. Ongoing, but yeah, fantastic. I appreciate you guys asking me, and good luck with the book hackers as well. Always happy to promote you guys.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Thea.
Thanks, guys.
Speaking of the Book Hackers, a rollout, we're launching a new cart today for the Book Hackers 101 course. Cammie, you want to tell them all about it?
I do. We have a Book Hackers 101 just rolled out. Cindy and I, Tammie, have developed a course to provide for self-publishers, a resource to help you create books and build a sustainable business. And we're calling it the ACE method. And the ACE stands for Audience, Content, and I. So we've broken it in 3 modules, because a lot of people throw books up on KDP and they don't sell and they wonder why. So we're going to walk you through how to sell your books and get the right audience, get the content right, and get a lot of eyes on your books and make money doing that. So we have our Book Hackers 101 pre-launch that is open. We'll drop the link in the notes, and it is on sale until Friday, July 22nd, 2022. So if you're interested or you have questions.
If you want information, bookhackers.us is our website, and at the very top right corner there's a Book Hacker 101 button. If you click on that, it'll take you to the cart and get you all the information that you need about signing up for that, for this special, for the pre-launch special, which will end next Friday. And if you're interested in getting in, this is the cheapest price you'll be able to get it. It's going to go up after Friday.
Thanks everybody for being on the show. Thank you, Thea. Thanks for joining us. And if you have any questions, let us know. And we do have a podcast as well called The Book Hackers Show. So you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and we'll have many more interviews. Plus you'll hear this interview with Thea this Thursday. All right. Talk to you later, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Thea. That was great. I appreciate you coming on here and telling your story.
Thanks for listening. Join Cindy and Tammie each week for tips to help grow your self-publishing business. Don't forget to like and follow us on social media, as well as share with others who could benefit from our advice. Our website is bookhackers.us.